from Papa John's. Listen to that guy. What's poppin'? We're here to spill some tea, sip some tea, whatever you want to call it. It's story time, so grab your snacks. Period poo. I got my leftover pizza from Papa John's and my wine, and it's still all the way up to the top. Boo. So you know we getting a little tipsy. Take me a little sip. If you're new to my channel, welcome to the part of the gang, mermaid gang, whatever. And yeah. Alright, so boom, let's get right into the video, whatever. This story time gonna be real juicy. Tea is real hot. So I'm gonna start off by telling y'all code names, okay? This is gonna be a story time about how I found out the whole time I was actually the side chick. Me, the side chick. Child. So look, we're gonna call him, code name for him is Spinach. Code name for old girl, we're gonna call her main girl. There's another girl in the story too, crazy, but we just gonna call her Hoodrat because she's trash. So boom. So if y'all see me looking off, I'm looking at my notes because I had to jot down some notes so I can make sure I don't miss no points, okay? So boom. Starting off with how we met or whatever. So crazy. So we was at Six Flags. Ooh, child. We was at Six Flags, and at the time he was working for Flash Pass or whatever, and me, my cousins, that's who I was with. So boom. And we was in line for screen machine, and I just look up and I see a little fine young tender. I'm like, oh baby, you can come up with my seatbelt. I'm so childish. Anyway, so I had already chose on him since I seen him. I was like, do I say something? Do I not? Do I say something? Do I not? So this is what we talking about when we on the ride. So we get off, and obviously if you're familiar with Six Flags in Georgia, you gotta, at that Flash Pass, the exit is where they stand or whatever. So we had to walk by him anyway to get off the ride or whatever. So I was like, this is the time, either I make the move or I don't. I get up close to him and I'm about to say something, and I froze. Like, I froze up. So I'm walking, and like we locked eyes, and I hesitated. And I hate when I hesitate. Like, if I hesitate, it's a whole dub, like, because I'm gonna be stuttering. It's just not gonna go right. So I hesitated. I was like, fuck it, not doing it. So we walk up to the top, and I'm like, damn, like, I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. But this gonna be the real test, because like, if I see him again, because you know Flash Pass, they be rotating rides, I'm just like, if I see him again or whatever, then it's just gonna be meant to be, because you know what I'm saying. So literally before we left, I'm just gonna fast forward, bypass the whole day or whatever, we get to the last ride. Mind you, ever since Daredevil came out, I feel like it was just such a waste of a ride. But anyway, I never get on Daredevil, but I got on with them because I was just like, I don't think they had rode it before, so it was just like, it's the last ride, whatever, fuck it, let's just get on. And it was so crazy because they was about to close. It was the last ride we was about to get on, and I never get on that ride. Guess who's working Flash Pass at their ride? So you already know, I'm like, oh, it's meant to be, period. Like, it's meant to be. It's meant to be. So we get on the ride, and the way Daredevil was set up, I was with like 6 people, so it's only a 4-person ride, like 4 people to a cart or whatever. So my cousin and her boyfriend had went first, so they had got off first. And it was crazy because he had said something to my cousin because he had recognized us from Scream Machine. So he was asking my cousin about me or whatever. And when I got off, I think I was contemplating saying something again. But obviously you want the dude to say something to you first, but like sometimes it just be like side. But I had to pass him first. I don't remember, but either way, they ended up telling me that he had said something to them about me or whatever. But we had ended up exchanging numbers at that last ride or whatever. So I was like, bro, it's meant to be, period. Like, so boom. So anyway, that's how we initially had met or whatever. So that's the background on that. Now we're gonna fast forward all the way to where I found out about the cheating or whatever. Mind you, we have been like off and on for like, I want to say roughly around like 2 years or something. That's why it's so crazy, because I'm a really intuitive type of person. I've always known like something was up, just never had proof of what. And I'm very much a proof oriented person. Like, I just have to see it with my own two eyes. I just have to, right? I don't remember why we had broke up the first time or whatever, but it was the second time around that I actually had found out about the whole thing. So boom, it was for Valentine's Day, and this is how niggas be getting caught up on them holidays, boo. Like, if y'all gonna be doing this, I'm not a cheater, I don't condone cheating, but like, if you gonna do it, you gotta be slick about it in some way, shape, form, or fashion, because you're gonna get caught up anyway. So it was for Valentine's Day, right? He was talking about, oh, I'm gonna get you this, and the third, woo woo. And mind you, we was going to 2 different colleges. I'm not gonna say what college he was going to, but I went to Georgia State, y'all know that. So he was supposed to be coming back up for Valentine's Day. He was like, something had came up and he had to leave like my gift with his brother or whatever, and his brother was still in high school at the time, but he had dual enrollment, so he would be at my school sometimes. So he was like, I just give it to him and tell him to give it to you. That had never happened, like the exchange never happened or whatever. So I was just like, so he was supposed to be coming up that weekend or whatever, and that's when I was supposed to get it or whatever. But I guess he thought I was gonna forget about it or something. I don't know what the logic was in this. He had to know he was gonna get caught up at some point or another. So he ended up coming that weekend, and this is when all hell just broke loose. So boom, right? We was in the car before we had went back up to my dorm or whatever, and he was trying to say the gift was in the car or whatever, right? So we in the car, and I'm like, so where is it? Where is it? Like, I don't see no gift. I don't see no Vicky's bag. I don't see nothing. Like, where is it or whatever? And I think he tried to lie and say he forgot it or something dumb. But either way, he was trying to keep up with the lie or whatever. I don't remember why I wanted to see his phone. I want to say he was trying to see my phone or something. And then I was like, nah, like, let me see your phone. Like, what? And it was so funny because in the midst of doing all that back and forth about the phones, he starts getting a call. And this nigga is so dumb that it's like, I feel like he changed the name in general, because I feel like around Man Girl, it was like something with like mad emojis. And then when he got around me, just the camouflage, like took the emojis away or whatever. But regardless, the name was still a name that was like, that's not no nigga. And they call him more than once. So like, who is that? I was just like, answer the phone. Of course, he definitely not gonna let me see the phone after that. So it's like, okay, like, you're caught. And it was so funny because all he could do was laugh. So, and it was funny too because my dumb ass, I'm sitting up here laughing with him because that's really how funny it was, bro. Like, I'm still trying to get the phone, but we both like cracking up laughing. And I think at that moment I had already decided like I was gonna be done, because if you can't answer simple questions or you can't give up a phone, whatever, then you clearly got something high. I ain't got time for that. So I think I was just like, since he here, this just gonna be the last rodeo. I'm gonna get mine and then bye, like, that's it, right? But the thing about it was like the whole time, because like I said, I'm a very intuitive person, so like I know when something's up, but I like to see proof. So it was just, I could never catch this nigga in a lie, because like this nigga was so good at lying that his lies would tie into the truth majority of the time. Say for instance, when I end up talking to main girl, I was like, and you know what's so crazy, because I'm the type of person, the powder tongue crazy, like don't be talking crazy, because that stuff could really happen. Like don't wish no ill will or like no death or nothing crazy out your mouth. Like don't say anything, because that could really happen. But it was so funny because I was telling the girl, I'm like, and yeah, like he gonna sit up here and lie talking about the car had broke down and this is that and the third and da 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 da. And she was like, wait, no, like that actually happened because I was with him. But this nigga called me while he was with her, pulled over on the side of the road. Like, dude. Like, he went to extreme measures to keep up this extraness. And I just could not believe it. It was so crazy, right? My thing is, I should have had just left it alone. But this is why... This is why you gotta just take signs how you see them. Don't even go looking for proof, because you definitely gonna get what you asking for, plus more. And it's like, it's not even worth it at that point. Like if you find or you feel anything is sketch, like just leave it alone. Like I've been shoulda knew, which I knew, but I didn't know how deep it was. But like there were certain signs, like obviously, like I had never met his mom or like anybody. The only person I ever met was like his brother, but like it wasn't like we were formally introduced. He was just there in the house when I would come over. I don't know, like just certain stuff made sense like after the fact, and I was like, oh, this is why this never happened, this is why that never happened. And then another thing too, it was just so funny because I kept putting stuff together after everything had happened. It was just one in particular time. I want to say it was around the time where I found out about the other girl. He had came to my dorm and he wasn't trying to like spend the night. Like we had never spent the night together or whatever. And I was just like, it would get on my nerves, but I wouldn't ever like press the issue. I don't know why, but like he wasn't trying to stay the night at the dorms, and I didn't understand why, because I didn't put two and two together until after the fact, because this nigga really had his brother call him on some like, oh, you gotta come home because such and such and such, like, and it was so funny because I didn't think at the time. I was just like, oh, okay, whatever, like you gotta go with your brother to do whatever. But then after everything happened, I was like, this nigga really like set it up to where like he hit his brother like, yo, call me at this time to get me out of this situation. Like I was like, he really pulled one of those on me. Child, let me take a sip. I want to say that was the last time we had seen each other. So main girl, she ended up finding my email in his phone. The reason she had got my email, I remember I was reaching out to him through my email because I had got blocked. So I think I was like trying to cuss him out, or like something was going on where I was like, he had blocked me. So I just started, you know how you can go to your iMessage and change the send and deliver addresses. So I was messaging him from all the different emails that I had. And when I got to my last email to where I couldn't no more, I made a new email, which is linked to like my main email. So like you can't get rid of it. You can't change it or anything. But obviously at the time I didn't notice, but I also didn't care. And so I made the email trying to be funny. And I put main girl, which was her actual contact name. And then at the end of that, I put undercover at gmail.com. So I'm like, every time I go to my email now, I'm constantly reminded of this because I just had to go be petty and try to be funny. Putting her name in there, trying to pretend I'm being undercover or something. Like, crazy. But she had found one of the emails with my actual name. I know this because when she hit me up, she had said my name. I'm like, how do you know my name or whatever? But yeah, that's how she ended up finding my email. So she hit me up. And of course, like, she was already in defense mode. Like, she was coming at me like guns blazing. I'm like, hold up. Because she didn't know I knew her code name, right? Because obviously I seen the contact. This nigga didn't even try to change the contact in any shape, form, or fashion. Like, that's what made it so funny, because it was like I had that to use as ammo against him, right? So she was coming at me and I was like, first of all, because I'm not even knowing who this is because it's a random number that's texting me. I'm like, and then it clicked. I'm like, is this insert contact name here? Is this main girl? And she was like, wait, hold on. How do you know that? Like, and that's the part that's so funny because I knew so much. That's how she knew like I wasn't lying. And that because I think he was trying to make me out to seem like the crazy girl, like I'm obsessed with him. But in reality, like obviously you was trying to pretend that we was in a whole relationship when you had a whole other relationship. Like it was just too much. But yeah, she was like, oh damn, like you know, like way too much. Like I know you're not lying or whatever. So we just end up talking, going back and forth with stories and everything just clicking. Like we both was like, oh my gosh, da 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 da. And so another thing that clicked that was so sick to me was at some point in time we had, I don't know when she had went through her red hair phase, but we had both went through red hair phases with him. And it was so funny because like he would always talk about how he was obsessed with like light skins with like red hair. He had requested specifically one time I was getting my hair done. I think red was the option anyway, but I was like red and some other color that I was considering getting or whatever. But of course, like he wanted me to have red hair. So I was like, okay, cool. Like I'll get red or whatever. But we had both went through red hair phases. And I was just like seeing her because we were sending each other pictures. So I'm thinking when I see the red hair, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this nigga was really trying to build his own bitch. Like for real, not even trying to be funny. Like this is really like sick. Like he probably made every light skinned girl that he ever talked to get red hair so he could live out like some sick fantasy. Like I was like, oh my gosh, like everything was just coming together in that moment. And I was just like, this is so crazy. But like I already stated, we both obviously light skinned. So of course, you know, everybody think every light skinned girl look alike. So we had been told that we had looked alike too. So that was even crazier. So it was just like, oh my gosh, like he really have a specific type. Like that's crazy. So boom. So that's all I needed. I'm done. Like bye. Like, but I'm thinking we on the same team now because really, honestly, truly, I really wanted to set him up because I'm just like, okay, cool. Like you got my information now. You finding out all this stuff. I'm finding out all this stuff. So we could really come together and unite and really like just play this off and then like have him pull up to my dorm and you already be in here and like me and him both walk in here and it's like an ambush type of thing. I don't know like crazy type stuff where we like did something to like harm him or whatever, but like I just think it would have been really funny to see his reaction like, oh, like he really would have been stuck. But of course that didn't work out in my favor. So after all this happens, I end up calling one of my childhood besties. Shout out to you, girl. I just called her going off about the situation. Girl, how about she has a friend in the car driving at this time. I'm explaining the situation. I kid you not, I did not even have to say this nigga name. She said, you talking about spinach? I could have jumped out my skin. I'm like, how do you know who I'm talking about? Like, I literally didn't even say a name. I just described the situation. And she was like, my friend, Hoodrat used to mess with him too. I'm like, for real? Like, I'm like, okay, let's call Hoodrat because we need to talk about some things because there ain't no way, but obviously you're not lying. Like, you cannot make this up. I cannot make this up. Like, so boom. So we end up getting in contact with Hoodrat and everything was cool at first, right? So we had got on the phone and she like, oh yeah, like you must be mermaid or whatever, because I guess she had ended up getting him caught up too because they had also went on a date to the movies. And apparently like I had text or whatever and my name at the time was like mermaid with some emoji, but for her to say mermaid, like obviously she know it's me, whatever. So the thing that was so crazy to me was she started telling me scenarios where, like, because he used to have a certain spot that he would want us to park so that he wouldn't get caught up, like if his mom was like to pull up to the house while we was there or whatever. So like she was telling me where the spot was. She was giving me all these details that obviously I would know or whatever. So I'm like, she is not lying. Like, that is crazy. Like, wow. Wow. And there was this one particular situation I thought was so sick. Like, I could have vomited. Like, when I tell you, ladies, don't ever sell yourself this short, bro. Like, it was this one time he had me pull up, not even to a hotel. It was a motel, like a motel. It was really close to my house though, but it was a motel. How about he had me pull up, and then after I left, he had Hoodrat pull up right after me. So, and it was so crazy. I knew she wasn't lying because obviously she told me like the location and the name of like the motel or whatever. And I was like, you are lying. And the reason that I knew she wasn't was because I had tried to call him or whatever, and he wasn't answering me for like mad long. And I was texting, obviously he wasn't texting back and stuff like that. So I was like, that was that exact same day. Like, that's crazy. Like, that's actually sick. Like, that's disgusting, right? I don't remember how we had got back in contact or whatever, but I was talking to my childhood friend that I told y'all about earlier, who brought all this together about it. And I think she was just telling me what her Instagram was, and I don't remember if I had like followed her or if I had accidentally liked the picture or like something. But I went to her Instagram because I wanted to see like what she looked like or whatever. And girl, like out of nowhere, she just got mad as fuck, like, and started going off like, what's your address, like we could fight, this is that and third. And I'm just like, I'm shook because I'm just like, wasn't we just talking about this whole situation together? Like, unless you still want him, why are you upset? And even if you do still want him, I don't. So why are you mad? Like, I was so confused. Like, dude, you're actually sick, and this is over a nigga that we both know is for everybody. Like, how are you mad about a nigga that's neither of ours? Please let me know. And my pride, the way my pride set up, I cannot fight over no nigga. Like, I was like, I really want to beat your ass just based off of disrespect, but the fact that it's about this nigga, no. Like, no, we're not doing this. But it was like a whole thing, and she was like calling me ugly and doing all this and third. Mind you, this girl, I gave her the code name Hoodrat for a reason, like the epitome, like bottom of the barrel, and she was calling me ugly. I'm like, sis, you're not even his type. You're not even his type, baby girl. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm the last person you should be calling ugly, and you should definitely look in the mirror. Like, she thought she was hot shit, dude. And I'm like, I'm praying for you because you're clearly delusional. So at this time, obviously, after me and Main Girl have talked or whatever, we have each other's social media and everything. So I think she had tweeted something like about the brother or whatever, and she had tagged the brother, and then I went to the brother's page, and it was so crazy because I was like, bro, like, this whole time, like, if I would have known what she looked like and everything like that, I would have been found this out, because they have both posted like pictures like of each other. So I was like, bro, like, I really could have been found this out this whole time. And you know what's crazy? And y'all probably like, brother, like, why, like, what about his page, his this, his that? Sweet pea, he didn't even have, like, when I tell you his only form of social media was iMessage, no Twitter, no Instagram, no Facebook, no Snapchat, no social media. That was red flag number 1, because you clearly got way too much going on. That's how you know that this nigga was up to no good. Obviously, after seeing that, like the post with the brother or whatever, she was I mean, like other tweets and stuff too, but she had ended up taking him back after all that or whatever, which is like whatever. But I'm thinking, oh, like we off and leave this nigga gonna be sick. No, like I'm thinking, yes, best revenge ever. No. So boom, she took him back or whatever, and I'm salty. I'm like, wow, like my plans of evil sweet revenge is just ruined. It's ruined, but it was okay, because it was just okay. So I thought, right, mind you, I never mentioned this in the story, but this nigga was such a dirty dog that even before this point, obviously after this point, he was definitely gonna sell my shit, but it was a point in time before that he had asked me for one of my old iPhones or whatever, because he claimed that something was going on with his phone. Nothing was wrong with his phone, child. He just wanted some extra money. So he asked me for an old iPhone. I'm giving it to him for him to use. This nigga sold my phone. Mind you, I didn't need the phone, so it wasn't like I was just dumb, like, oh my gosh, like, well, I was dumb in this situation in general, but like, I wasn't just giving him the phone. It was just there, like I had my own phone, and this was just an extra phone that I didn't need. As soon as I thought about that, it clicked, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I let this nigga borrow my beats. So since she was back with him, I was like, bro, I hit her up like, oh my gosh, can you look and see, do he have my red beats? And she looked all over for him. She said she couldn't find them. She was like, yeah, more than likely he probably sold those. And I'm just like, yeah. And I was so hurt. I'm like, this nigga really ain't no good. So me, I'm so distraught about the whole situation. I'm just like, you know what? I had dropped him off one time with no address or anything. Like, he's just telling me how to get there. But he had me to drop him off at the grandma's house one time only ever. And so, mind you, this whole entire time, main girl is living there. I have no idea about this or anything, right? So anyway, you know, I get with Melissa. So I'm like, yo, like, this nigga still got my beats. Should I pull up? Because obviously he's not trying to, you know, talk to me or whatever. Because after me and main girl had talked, like, he was big mad. Like, he hit my phone on some, you a miserable bitch. This is that and the third. Da 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 da. Like, just dogging me out and everything. And the whole time I'm like laughing, because I'm just like, wow, like, I'm miserable because you got caught. Okay, sicko. Oh, I'm just like, so should I pull up to go get these beats? Like, what should I do or whatever? And she was like, I mean, you remember where she lived or whatever. I'm like, I don't have the address or anything, but I think I could remember how to get there. I kid you not. I kid you not. I cannot make this up. Me and Melissa hop in the whip. When I tell you I pulled up, and this is not an easy neighborhood or anything to maneuver or anything. We pulled up to the grandma house with no directions, like strictly just like photographic memory. Like, when I tell you, I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I think this solidified my craziness. Like, I'm really batshit crazy. Like, how did I remember how to get here? I've only been here once. Never had directions, never had an address. Like, I just remembered, like, and it was crazy because when I went the first time, it was dark as hell. Like, it was at nighttime. So I'm like, I'm crazy as fuck. But it was funny because we got to the neighborhood and I remember certain aspects of the neighborhood. I just didn't remember how to get to the house. So it took like a couple detours to get to the actual house. But when we pulled up, because I remember it was a cul-de-sac by like where the actual house was. So when we got to the actual house, I was like, I think this is the house. And then it was, at that point, it was just a matter of getting out the car and getting the balls to go ring the doorbell or something. So I'm like, okay, like, we're here. Let's do it. Let's do it. So we get out the car. She ended up coming to the door and letting us in and everything. And I started telling her about spinach or whatever and how he had my stuff. And she was just like, oh, like, that's crazy. Like, he know better than this, that, and the third, and da 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 da. And you just so pretty and da 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 da. And I was just like, thank you. But like, when I tell you, out of nowhere, like after we got off like the whole beats thing, we started talking about the actual cheating situation or whatever. When I tell you, I broke down and I started crying to this nigga grandma, bro, outside. Like, I just broke down. Like, bro, I will never forget. That's crazy to me. Like, I was really in her house. And that's when I found out about main girl living there, because she had told me like all of this stuff. Like, me and her was literally like sitting there having like a heart-to-heart conversation, like just explaining everything. And she was like telling me to like know my worth and everything like that. Like, it was crazy. And I'm like, wow. So yeah, I left there with no beats. And I want to say the brother was there or somebody was there, or either the grandma herself ended up telling Spinach that I was there. When I tell you, he lost his shit, like started blowing my phone up. And obviously I know who it is, but I'm like, decline. So he hit my phone, he texted me like threatening me and shit, like, who you think you are, pulling up at my folks' houses, is and the third, like, don't ever do that again in your life, this is and the third. I wish I could remember exactly what he was saying to me, because he was saying some wild shit to me. I'm just like, bro, like, what did you think I was gonna do? Like, what was I supposed to do? You have my shit, like, give me my shit back then. If you would have been offering to give my shit back, we wouldn't be in this predicament. But you want to play games? Let's play. But yeah, so I mean, after that, there was no more contact between me and him ever. Like, I never, like to this day, have never heard from him like ever again. It is crazy because I went to Georgia State. We had mutual friends. So it's just like, you just was moving dumb because you was pulling up boldly to my school, to my dorm. What made you think you wasn't gonna get caught? And one of her good friends stayed in the same dorm that I did. Like, you was just bold. Like, you wasn't worried about getting caught. Like, you could have got caught at any given moment. You just did not care. Like, crazy to me. But yeah, so that's pretty much the story. Yeah, that's how I ended up finding out. And me and man girl, even to this day, like, there's no beef. Like, we're cool and everything. Like, there's no ill will, no anything like that. Like, she's a beautiful girl. Wish her nothing but the best or whatever. The other girl, Hoodrat, obviously I told you in the video, like, me and her fell out over bullshit that just, if you gonna get mad at the nigga, please. Like, why are you mad at the female? What the female, 9 times out of 10, it's not the female's fault. Now, in Hoodrat's case, there may be a lot of scenarios where she, like, females like Hoodrat, she be the female to be mad at because she be knowing and she just don't care. But it be the females like me who just end up in unlucky situations and really don't be knowing for real. And then you have to find out and it's like, damn, like, but then, you know, you just gotta take it as a learning lesson and you just gotta hold that L down. Hold it down. But yeah, I guess it's easier or better to have gotten it over with in your younger years than in your later years. But it's just like, damn, like, I don't wish that on nobody, because that could go so left. Like, that could really ruin a person. But it ain't do nothing but make me stronger. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you cannot keep me down. Period. Like, I'm that bitch, will forever be that bitch. Word of Megan Thee Stallion, period. And that's just that on that, baby. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Thank y'all so much for watching. Let me know if y'all want more. Anyway, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see y'all in my next video. Bye.